Alright, so one of the most underrated fights on this card, and honestly the one that I'm looking forward to the most, is Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. If anything, this is personally my main event. And if you didn't know, this is actually a rematch because these two fought back in the regional scenes, which I'll get into in a bit. But man, this is one of those fights where neither guy can really afford to lose. Both of them have come a long way since their first fight, and that's what makes this matchup so interesting. Alright, so let's talk about where each guy has the edge in this fight, because I'm not gonna lie, personally I think this one isn't going to be as close as people think it is. On one hand, you've got Anthony Hernandez, a guy who fights like he's got an unlimited gas tank. The dude just does not stop. He's going to be in Brendan Allen's face from the first minute to the last, pushing a ridiculous pace that a lot of guys just can't keep up with. And when he gets his grappling going, good luck. He doesn't just take guys down, he drowns them with his chain wrestling, consistently transitioning, and an aggressive top game. If he can get Allen into those wild scrambles and force him to work harder than he wants to, then that's where Fluffy can take over. I mean, look at Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov, man. That fight was a clinic in pressure and pace from Fluffy. Hernandez absolutely swarmed Kopylov. From the opening bell, he never let him breathe, consistently moving forward, making in strikes, and chaining takedown attempts together. And Fluffy's game plan was crystal clear. Break Kopylov with relentless pressure. Every time Kopylov tried to reset, Hernandez was already on him, making him work. He mixes up his attacks beautifully. Level changes, clinch work, dirty boxing, just grinding him down. By the second round, you could see Kopylov start to fade, and against a guy like Hernandez, that's a death sentence. And then of course the finish, pure relentless grappling, top pressure, and eventually submission. What makes it even more impressive is that Kopylov isn't an easy guy to submit. He's got solid defense, instinctively, but Hernandez just overwhelmed him to the point where there was no way out. With that being said, this fight is a whole different challenge. You see, Brendan Allen isn't the same guy who Hernandez beat back in 2018. He's way more sharper in the feet now. His striking has come a long way, better boxing, better shot selection, and he's just way more composed. If this fight stays standing for extended periods, Allen's the one that's going to be landing cleaner shots, more damaged shots. And let's not forget about his submission game. People talk about Fluffy's grappling a lot, and rightfully so, but Allen's jiu-jitsu is legit. If Hernandez shoots in a sloppy or gets too comfortable in a scramble, Allen has a technique to snatch up a choke in an instant. Now, if we're looking at this fight objectively, the grappling isn't just some toss-up, it actually favors Fluffy in my opinion. And there's a strong argument that he can out-grapple Allen again. The idea that this wrestling will cancel out doesn't really hold up when you break it down. I mean, first off, history matters. Allen has been out-grappled before, not just by Fluffy, but by other guys who aren't necessarily elite level wrestlers. I mean, Milinder and Duraev and Imavov have all had moments of controlling over him, and the common theme in those fights is when Allen gets put in bad spots, he struggles to get out of them. You see, his scrambles are solid, but it's not reliable. It's not a get out of jail free card. If he doesn't stuff the initial takedown, he spends too much time trying to recover, and that's exactly what Fluffy thrives on. Fluffy's grappling is relentless. He doesn't just go for one takedown and hope it works. He chain attempts together and keeps pressuring on and forces guys into positions where they burn energy trying to fight him off. We saw this in their first fight. Allen might have had some success early on, but once Fluffy started forcing grappling exchanges, he took over. That kind of pace breaks guys. And let's be real, Fluffy doesn't need to dominate in pure wrestling technique to be effective here. His ability to mix up the clinch work, takedown attempts, and top pressure is enough to keep Allen reacting instead of dictating the fight. Allen has improved, no doubt about it, but nothing in his recent performance suggests he's suddenly going to shut down a guy like Fluffy, who's been thriving in these kind of fights. So if we're betting on whether the grappling can cancel out or if Fluffy can take over again, history and style both lean towards Fluffy. Allen might land some shots early, but once this fight turns into a grind, Fluffy's gonna have the edge. And look man, I'm aware Allen's BJJ is solid, no doubt about it. He's got the skills to threaten from his back and work through scrambles, but that doesn't mean he won't get out grappled. Having a strong BJJ doesn't mean much if you're consistently stuck in defensive positions, unable to dictate the exchanges, you know? And if we're going to talk about clinch work, Fluffy has the edge here too, no question about it. It's not about strength or technique, it's about how he uses the clinch to break guys down. And he's not one of those fighters who just holds positions and wait. The second he gets his hands on you, he's working, whether it's chaining trips, pressing you against the cage, or making you uncomfortable with his dirty boxing. Allen, on the other hand, doesn't thrive in those spots. He's way more effective at range, where he can control the pace and pick his shots, but when he gets tied up, he usually reacts not initiating. That was pretty clear in the Imavov fight. Every time he got into the clinch exchanges, Allen wasn't the one that was dictating. He was either trying to break away or get control, and that's exactly where Fluffy is going to look to do. If this fight spends a lot of time in the clinch, Allen is going to be in survive mode, not attack mode, unless he makes some serious adjustments. This is where Fluffy takes over, drains his gas tank, and starts breaking him down. Allen's best chance to win this fight is with his hands. If he's going to be Fluffy, it's not going to be through the grappling exchanges, in my opinion, or the clinch work. It's going to be by keeping the fight at range, using the striking, and making Fluffy pay every time he tries to close the distance. You see, I would say Allen's striking has come a long way. He's more disciplined now, he doesn't waste shots, and he has solid power when he's in rhythm. He can be really sharp with his boxing, clean combinations, good shot selections, and he's not easy to hit when he's sticking to his fundamentals. The key for him is to stay in that rhythm and not let Fluffy turn this into a grind. The problem? Fluffy is relentless. He's not gonna stand at range and let Allen pick his shots. He's gonna pressure, force clinch, and try to wear him down. That's why Allen needs to hurt him early, make Fluffy respect his power, and think twice about just walking forward. So yeah, if Allen wins this, it's gonna be because he kept the fight standing, outboxed Fluffy. Now the question is, can he stop the pressure long enough to make that happen? Now, if Allen wins this fight, it's gonna be because he kept it standing and picked Fluffy apart on the feet. His path to victory is all about range, shot selection, and capitalizing on Fluffy's weakness, especially to the body. First of all, Fluffy isn't the best at dealing with clean, technical strikes. And he's tough, but he gets hit a lot. His striking defense isn't the sharpest, and he relies on pressure rather than head movement or footwork. That's where Allen can take advantage. If he stays disciplined and doesn't let Fluffy close the gap, he can jab him up, land crisp combinations, and punish him every time he tries to crash forward. But the biggest key is body shots. Fluffy's been hurt to the body before, and he does not react well when guys target it. He keeps a high guard and tends to leave his midsection open when he's pressured. If Allen can land a clean body kick, step in knee, or even just a mix and sharp hook to the ribs, he can sap Fluffy's cardio and slow him down, or just hurt him. Allen can also have the edge in pure hand speed. If he can time Fluffy's entries and counters with a quick straight punch, he'll rack up damage fast. The challenge is keeping it up for the whole fight. Fluffy's gonna keep coming at him, so Allen has to hurt him early and make him think twice about just walking him down. However, that's harder than it sounds, and I still think Fluffy will give him a run for his money on the feet. Yeah, Allen has the sharper striking and a clear path to winning, but Fluffy isn't an easy target. Pressure changes everything. Allen looks great when he's in controlling the pace, like I mentioned earlier, but the second Fluffy starts walking him down, forcing these wild exchanges, it's a different story. Allen isn't untouchable, he gets hit too, and when things get ugly, Fluffy thrives. Then there's the volume and cardio. Allen is more precise, but Fluffy throws more and never lets you breathe. Allen has to be sharp for 15 minutes, while Fluffy has to keep marching forward and making it messy. And if this turns into a war, Fluffy has the gas tank to drown him. And let's not forget the kicks. Allen's best weapons is his body shot, but every time he throws it is a chance for Fluffy to catch it and turn it into a takedown or a scramble. That's how fast this fight can flip. So yeah, Allen might have the edge technically, but keeping Fluffy off of him, avoiding the brawl, and maintaining that pace, way easier said than done in my opinion.